Jetset, go! I am a clinical hypnotherapist, Neuro Linguistic programming practitioner, and I am here to actually talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly in travel. So, like when I was still single, I used to travel by myself. What I realized is that, there's always a situation wherein you're looking for somebody to travel with. So, like, either they don't have the same time of availability as you, or maybe they don't have the budget, or maybe they want to go, but they don't want to go the same place that you want to go. Like, they've been there probably or something like that. But what I have for today is a guest who also likes to travel by herself a lot of times. And so, like, she's a good friend. She is actually a paramedic, licensed minister, and she's actually writing a book. So welcome, Renee Sanchez.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, so Renee, maybe you can tell us, like, what made you decide, like, okay, I want to start traveling?
Well, my interest in travel started many years ago. I'd say I was probably about 21 or 22, and I had a bunch of roommates from Ireland. And one of the roommates was going back home to visit their family, and they asked if I wanted to come with. And ever since then, I had the traveling bug.
Oh my God. And so what you call it, if you went to Ireland and you have already a host, so did you find it much more easier? Because, like, you don't have to be, like, doing things on your own. Like, you have more or less a personal travel guide.
Absolutely. I pretty much relied on my friend, since my friend was from the area, and they took me around and showed me around. I wouldn't have known where to go or anything, even exchanging money, if it wasn't for my friend. So it was an easy way to learn about international travel.
Yeah. And so what you call it, did you had Irish breakfast every day?
Oh, almost every day. It was delicious.
No, because, like, first time I had an Irish breakfast, I was thinking, like, oh my God, this is a lot of stuff for the breakfast.
It was a lot. Very heavy, very greasy, but very delicious.
That's
yes.
true too. Like,
yes.
Anything good can be dangerous. So, so what are the common hassles that you come to realize? Maybe it didn't happen to you, like, you gotten used to it, but, that you have seen, from many people.
Well, I would have to say that the number one thing for me, and now I don't know if this is for everybody, it's toilet paper. It's toilet paper and the accessibility of bathrooms, restrooms. Now, I have traveled to a lot of third world countries, and I find that in a lot of the third world countries that are not westernized, bathrooms, they're not free. You have to pay for them, number one, so you have to make sure that you have change on you, money. Number two, they may not have toilet paper. Number three, they may not have soap or even running water. So these can pose problems, especially when you're in another country and you're eating their food and your digestion is complaining about it.
Yes, trying to adjust.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, like, I wouldn't be surprised about the toilet paper because, like, I came from the Philippines, and so, like, that's always like a commodity. Like,
Yes.
you have to bring your own. Even when we were working, I was working in the Philippines, so I have to bring my own, like, every time to go to a washroom. And so, like,
Yes.
and then, like, usually you will ask your colleague, okay, do you have extra paper over there? Like, you put it under the booth. And so, yeah, and then I remember in China, so of course, like, my husband was culture shock because, like, you have to squat on those particular spots where you have to, and sometimes there are no doors, and so, like, he was thinking, like, what's going on over here? Like, I cannot do my business over here if the doors are not closed.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have a funny story
Yeah,
about that.
yeah.
I was in China also. And we were on a long ride, and I had to go. And I just kept telling myself mentally, you don't have to go. You don't have to go. But I just couldn't hold it any longer. And when we had made a stop, I was running to the bathroom. And I found out where the women's room is. I went in there, and it was just a bunch of holes in the ground. And I thought, oh my gosh. And there were women using the restroom, and you could see everybody. And I just thought, oh my gosh, like, I don't want to do this, but I had to go. So I just thought, all right, when in Rome, I have to go. That's it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. And I went, and I'm glad I did. And it was a little embarrassing. It was very awkward, but it's one of the funny stories that I have.
Yeah, like, different kinds of bathrooms all the time, especially in Europe. Like, you cannot imagine, how do I flash this thing? Because, like, sometimes you step on it, sometimes you pull it from the top. It's funny. And so, like, what I like the best is, like, Japan. Because, like, they have the most sophisticated toilet seat, There's something wherein, like, you push it, and then, like, there will be some chiming so that, people feel awkward using the washroom when they're peeing, and so like they have to cover it with a chime so that people won't know what's going on over there. So it's just mixing the noise of your pee. And
Oh, wow.
And then you have never been to Japan yet. Oh, you should go to Japan.
I would love
or
to.
like I think I saw some Japanese restaurants here who has the same kind of toilet seat, and so like they have a bidet, and then. Yeah, there's some air which is coming as well. You press, everything is in the button. Technology is in Japan, so they have everything over there.
Wow.
So, would you share with us some tips you do to be prepared? Because I know that, you've traveled a lot, and so I have no idea, like, if you travel light or you travel, like, with everything, and then you just have to tweak it here and there. I have no idea how do you actually pack.
Well, I pack differently when I'm traveling internationally. I don't pack as much as I do when I'm going to another country. And so some of the things that I like to do is, again, with the toilet paper, I like to take a shoestring and feed it through the toilet paper cardboard and bring a roll with me. I also bring a very small and thin piece of soap. Make sure I have hand sanitizer, a bottle of water in case you need it. I also make sure, because I've had some problems before where you need to tell your banks that you're going overseas, and you need to tell you also need to tell your phone company, because you can have it where you're buying something and then they think that your bank thinks that someone stole your credit card, and it won't go through. Your purchase won't go through. That's one thing. Getting a separate email is another thing to avoid hacker type of situations. I also tend to get, like my sinuses, when I'm taking a flight, they tend to hurt. So I always take, and I don't suggest this, I'm not a doctor. I mean, well, I do suggest it, but talk to your doctor if you want to do this. Take some guafenicin. It's pretty much Mucinex, 1,200 milligrams, Afrin, and if you have pressure in your ears, it will not be there. Like, it will help a lot when you're on rides. This is a biggie. Bring compression socks. I was on a very long ride to India, and I didn't have compression socks on. I didn't think I needed to, but my legs were down the entire ride. And when I actually got there, because it was a long ride, I couldn't even fit into my shoes until the trip was almost over. I had to wear flip-flops the entire time. I couldn't wear my heels, couldn't fit into anything. Whoa. Because my legs were swollen. So wear compression socks when you're taking a long flight. Put your legs up in various positions now and then to just get the circulation going. That's a biggie for me. I always like to have a compass with me, extra Ziploc bags, small ones, large ones, because you never know when you're going to need it. And sometimes I will hand wash my clothes. Like, let's say, like I'll wear my jeans like for 2 days, and then I will wash them. That's just me. I know maybe it's an American thing, but I like to wash them. So what I do is I bring a chamois with, and because it soaks up a lot of water, bring some Tide Pods with, put them like a little glass jar so they don't get crushed, and just put them in a sink with a little sink stopper, and wash them, rinse them, squeeze them through a chamois, let them air dry. They'll be dry the next day. If you're outside in tropical weather and you're drying your clothes, bring them in before the nightfall because the dew will make them wet again. What else do I have here? I have a list of things and I don't want to forget anything. Learn what the customs are.
That's true.
Learn the customs. I was in India and I was in a store. I was trying to buy something, and we have, in America, we have this thing where you don't stand immediately behind somebody. You give a little space, maybe about 12 inches or so. But it's not like that in India. In India, if there's a space between you and the next person, somebody's getting in front of you. And I kept wondering, why are people getting in front of me continuously? Like, don't they see that I'm in line? Like, how rude. Well, I did not read up that this is the way they do things. If there's a space, they're getting in there. They're going to get their turn. So it was a learning experience. But yes, those are some things. Dual voltage for hair dryers and small appliances. And a biggie for me is a universal travel plug adapter. I've brought little pieces here and there, just trying to figure out what's going to work. But I think if you bring one universal plug adapter, a good one, you can use it for any area, because some countries have 2 different types of adapters that they use, and then you're stuck because you don't have that adapter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what I like about that is that that's a biggie, the telephone, because otherwise they'll be charging you for roaming charges.
Oh, yes.
It can be a big amount of money, and then maybe you'll be paying $100, $200 plus, plus more if it's gonna be calculated that you have used the phone somewhere else. So what I do is that I usually I actually lock the whole thing already, so that I cannot use it for overseas call. So
wow.
if I want to use an overseas call, I just use my Skype, and so that's it. And so I also use Viber. And so yeah, because it's still important, to communicate and find out how can you actually get to a certain destination. You need to call your hotel or something, you're lost, and so. Yeah, and then also the bank, because you don't want to have a problem wherein you cannot use your credit card or your debit card, and so what's going to happen? You don't have any money.
Right.
Yeah, and you'll be stuck over there for a while, because how can you actually have money if you don't have anybody there? And so to actually call your bank, you have to wait till the morning of the, or if what happens if it's a weekend? You're stuck, and there's nobody picking up from your bank. So those are wonderful things that you have shared. And so those Ziplocs, how do you use it?
Well, just bring them with, because if you, I would say for anything, if you have food that you want to put away, or let's say you bit into an apple, this is another thing I would suggest, always having a ready-made snack with you. You could put it in a Ziploc bag. If you buy soap, you could put it in a Ziploc bag. Anything. I mean, it's for anything that you can't think of at the moment that you will need in the future.
Okay.
Yes.
And so are you the type of person who brings first aid kits?
I did. I bring first aid kits, very small ones, when I'm going to third world countries, because I don't know what the accessibility is going to be if I'm going to be near a pharmacy, should something happen.
Yeah, because you have an edge, because you're paramedic, so these little things to do, first aid or whatever. So you're much ahead of the game, and so by any chance, have you ever encountered somebody needed help, and then you have to practice whatever you know?
Actually, I haven't. Thank God. But so yeah, but I'm ready if somebody should need help.
Yeah, because like, we have heard those instances where in like, they're calling the doctor in the plane, somebody's having a situation, and then like, thank God, like, there are people who's going to be there in order to help, because otherwise like it's going to be rough. Like, I've heard some, who had a heart attack on the plane. So yeah, it's a lot of work, but thank God that there are people who are actually flying who are also like in the medical field. And then I guess like the only thing that the people from the airlines can do is that try as much as they can, whatever they have learned, if there's nobody on the flight.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
I always wonder when I'm getting on a flight, is somebody going to need help?
Yeah. So where are your next travel destinations? Because I'm curious now.
Well, I would like to go to the Balkans. I'd like to do a tour of the various countries in the Balkans area. And so it's a choice between that and it's a choice between Germany.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking of possibly next year.
Okay, all right. So what you call that? What there are too many countries in the Balkan area. What is your top among all those? Like if you choose one, which one will you not? You'll make sure that it's included.
Oh gosh, I would say maybe like I would have to say Transylvania,
Okay.
the Balkan. I mean, there's so many. I think Macedonia is, but I don't want to look like I don't know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So let me check this map here. Yes.
Yeah, but have you watched the series of Game of Thrones?
Oh, I have. Yes.
Okay, because
Yes.
it will be nice to see those areas. that
Oh,
they
is it
have,
over there?
in Croatia?
Oh, yes. That would be amazing.
Yeah. So what you call that? I really appreciate your time being over here, Renee. And so, I hope that we have much more time. But we have a limited time as far as like with the show. But I'd like to have you in the next one again sometime soon. And so, in this talk show, we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so, like I guess like that. Washroom situation is something that you have to be prepared about. So in this show, you can be your own Rick Steve, Samantha Brown, or Peter Greenberg, whoever is your favorite. And so like, we'll talk about like, what are the different experiences that you've had. And if you're also travel or tourism expert, we would like to have you over here because like I'm sure you have a lot of things to share for us, like specifically now that the pandemic is still going on, and then of course the rising of the prices of airlines. So yeah, it's a lot of things to talk about. But thank you so much again, Renee. And
You're welcome.
yeah, I'll see you soon. Bye bye, folks.
Thank you. Bye.